Welcome everybody to the Sclerology Pocket video series. This is the third of our projected four-part presentation. It's a relaxed, casual, informal way to connect us eyologists. While our focus is sclerology, the other eyology sciences are going to be used. We choose a client or a patient, we choose their eyes, and then we consider what we're seeing in terms of the eyology sciences over against what we know about the person. With psychoenergetics and personality iridology, we don't need to know much about the person at all. But with physical iridology and sclerology, we want to know as much data on the client as reasonably possible before we look at their eye markings. Okay, so just to be clear on that. In this process, we might use basic, advanced, and even research level concepts. So if you're new to this series, please keep in mind that these videos are designed for those who, with at least some familiarity with eyology science. While we will briefly explain some of the terms and acronyms that we use, we'll just breeze through others. So to be up to speed with terms and concepts, you might consider further study. Check out our websites that will be shown at the end of this video, okay? So please bear with us if there are sound and video glitches. That happens with this technology. So finally, unless you have a burning question that you feel just has to be answered, what you can do is you can type in, okay, the question, or otherwise just wait for the end of the session, which will probably go for a full hour, okay? Here we go. So I'm going to start off by reading some of Alan. Alan is the name. It's a fictitious name of the client. It's a real person, but his name is not Alan. We'll call him Alan. All right, this is Alan, and Alan was age 30 when we met in 2014. And Nenita's just going to walk you through these photos as we talk about Alan. And he was born in mid 1983. Although he lived about 2 hours north of us, we saw him several times from 2014 through 2018, and we had many phone conversations. He has a desk job, works in the mortgage industry. At his first visit, he presented with a medical diagnosis of paresthesia, which is it's like a tingling in sensory nerves in his hands, and pins and needles in his forearms. And note that his work involves a lot of typing, sitting at the computer. His father had arthritis and later died of ALS. It's an amazing disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. His mother had Parkinson's, diabetes, high blood pressure. She'd had a stent put in, and she finally had a heart attack. So she finally died during the time that I was working with the patient. So he suffered 3 emotionally painful romantic or mate-type relationship events in his young life, breakups. His respiratory, he has taken cannabis many times, marijuana, even daily for 2 years, and otherwise sporadically. He said he took it to ease his nerves. He also smoked cigarettes for a little while, 6 months straight, and he otherwise periodically, because just during times of special emotional stress. So we're going to look at his lungs and his bronchial areas, the lateral quadrant, the right lateral quadrant. For surgeries, he had a testicular torsion repair, which is a orchioplexy, as an infant. Okay, and then he had a chin implant. For some reason, he thought he needed a chin implant as an adult. His parents were divorced when he was 18 years old, and that hurt him a lot. Okay, he actually went to prison a couple of times for driver's license related infractions. He was prescribed amoxicillin several times against sore throats while he was growing up, and penicillin a few times. So he worked as an X-ray tech and a radiology student, and he's had a few of his own X-rays plus MRIs. He feels that he can't, this is, I thought, really interesting, he can't get into providing serious pleasure for himself while his parents are ill. Okay, that's not interesting. So he uses his cell phone a lot, especially at work, to call his friends. In terms of diet, he claimed a 50% raw diet, but he ate at restaurants at least once or twice a week with junk food, Subway sandwiches and pizzas. But he said he also had some smoothies. So he confesses to be a fairly faithful church-going Christian. When CT scans were taken of his brain, they were always normal, no pathology indicated, and his blood work, when he had a full set of tests, showed only elevated eosinophils, some certain white blood cells. So toward the end of his visits to us, he phoned to tell us that his latest health misadventures included him being diagnosed with hives. He was having these itchy spots on his skin. He went in, and they found that they determined urticaria, which is a hive that's like allergy related, and seborrheic dermatitis. So they gave him some drugs for that, corticosteroid, some cream to put under his eyes, and an inhaler. And then he also saw an allergist and a pulmonologist. And so they were offering him all these drugs, some of which he took, some of which he avoided. Okay, the pulmonology study, he just showed unremarkable results. So our last contact with him was in August of 2019, when he just called in and he said that he felt his nails were turning dark and he was afraid of melanoma. So we haven't seen him since then. And I'll just mention, this is the last part. I'm going to hold this because this is something that's just kind of like summarizes his whole situation. So there's his lungs. We'll get into that. So, Professor André, would you like to have us pull something up on the screen, a particular area that you would like us to look at first?
It's open. Something that I could realize already on these areas that you've been showing, there's a lot of, it seems like, as I can say because I don't know this guy, it seems like there's a lot of frustrate feeling? Frustrate feeling on his life for many things of different origins, okay? Events, different origins. So that's the first thing that I could see. It's frustration and self-esteem, which probably is correlated with these things, with this same kind of origin. And also maybe, it's things, it's correlated about lost, feelings that comes up associate with lost. So frustration, lost in his life, and self-esteem. This is the three things that I could see on this beginning. Okay, thank you, Leonard. It's with you.
Okay, what we'll do is we could start at the beginning. The iris, as you can see, is a fairly strong body by nature. You could see his wreath. Most of the genetic tendency to weakness seems to be in the gastrointestinal. You can see the groove radials, various groove radials, and the cramp rings. You can see the cramp rings that Nenita is pointing to right now. So that's nervous tension. Did you want to say something about that?
No, just ask you if these three things doesn't make sense.
Oh, yes, sorry about that. Yes, they do. They definitely do. Very, very good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Psychoenergetics.
And that goes along too with the type of personality that he has. I have spoken with him too over the years. Whenever he comes over, he had, because of his personality, the combination that we saw in iridology about the combination of the groove radials or the radial furrows with the contraction,
Traction furrows or groove radials, or I
uh,
mean cramp rings.
cramp rings, the two together, that makes him more anxious.
Hmm.
Type A personality,
Anxiety type
anxiety
disposition.
disposition. So there's a lot of anxiety, and one of the things that's really contribute to that, also in his environment, is the idea that because of his parents both having
Disease
disease
processes.
processes that
Hmm.
involve the nervous system,
Hmm.
which is ALS and Parkinson's,
Hmm.
that he will end up having those kind of
Hmm.
diseases also.
Hmm.
But he's still
Good
fairly
call.
young, and but
I'm only 30 years old. Oh my goodness, he's just a kid.
Hmm.
So this is really good. And so you can see again. I mean, we can consider some of the markings like that obvious jewel there in terms of personality iridology. I don't think I even looked at that before. But where the few lacunas are, or crypts, there's just a few of them, and they're in zone three, the
Okay.
cardiovascular and endocrine zone. Okay, and
Hmm.
you do see a buildup of pigments in that zone,
Okay.
right? And that's very typical, you know,
Hmm.
especially of brown eyes of this color. So we could probably go to, without spending a whole lot of time, we
see,
can go into the scleras. You want to say something about
no,
that?
I'll let Andre.
Oh, Andre, you want to say something about that?
Yes, please. Just some people are asking to if is it possible to enlarge the image, and you
Yes. Oh, yeah.
see some zoom. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Can you take over the pointer?
No.
You can't do that, Andre?
No, no, I can. It's not for me. I just watching the chat, and people are asking if it's possible to show the pictures bigger.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you just tell us what part of the compass you want us to
No, no.
highlight or
For
point
me, it's all
to.
right. For me, it's fine. Yeah. But once that you're asking those pigments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this one and the others, the particular color of them, it's also are correlated about frustration, and also maybe the victim feeling, victim.
Victim consciousness.
Victim
Yes,
contact.
yes,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. Yeah, you know, when someone has a victim behavior, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's something correlated. It's one of the feelings that we can investigate and ask when we see this particular color of pigment. Okay.
The brown.
That one
Yeah.
there.
No, when it's not actually, it's a clear brown. It's light brown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On this case, we have the victim associate associate with it, and maybe on this case already it shows with some maybe some aggressivity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
does that understand? Aggressive sometimes, maybe uh,
Mm-hmm.
very
Aggressiveness.
what?
Aggressiveness.
Yeah, 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 yes. Some reactions like that. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
come together, and all that is correlated with the frustration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
carry on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shall we go on then, or do you want to
Yes,
say some
yes.
more?
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. I guess
Let's
here.
see. Do you want the?
Mm-hmm. Just whichever one is next. You can go there. I like to do that first. So without and then with the diagramming. So what we did over the years, we would do some diagramming. I think we did some diagramming initially first. Okay, and there's so many things that we could say about this. You can go into the next one. Like, what are those patches of color there? You know, what is that all about? These tiny little brown and black dots, and you can see that's a P4. That's a bacteria. You see the fermentation right there. And so there's bacteria that is not getting broken down completely. You can see that the marker with the most congestion is in the kidney, and that's very typical these days because there's so many toxins in our environment, in the air, and food that we eat, and just everywhere. So the kidneys are going to take a big hit. See, and of course the bowel too. You can see that sigmoid is very often congested in people. And remember, the gastrointestinal is in general, his weakest area on the gross physical level. Okay, so those are the areas the most. So we want to notice the prostate. You know, see, these are areas that are mostly light in color, many of them. So he hasn't had all those years to abuse himself. So, and, you know, we'll just have to see how well he follows the directions and takes good advice to make positive changes to prevent these from developing into disease processes. You can just go from one to the next. This is that's his left lateral, okay? And you can see a processes developing here with regard to the immune system that Nenita just went through, and the large blood vessels. See, that's right in the area of the large blood vessels that serve the heart in the thoracic area. There's a connector from there that goes up into the brain area, so we'll see presently where that's going. Okay, and then you see, here it is diagrammed. Thank you, Nenita, for expanding that. And you see there's just a very mild lateral red wash. It's some pressure on the heart. He has some exercise. He's 6'1". He likes to go and play basketball with his buddies. He only does that maybe once a week or even less. So he really needs a more steady, regular exercise process. You see the P2 there, the virus that's hanging out in the thoracic area. That's very common. And when those things get bright red and there are symptoms, you know that the person isn't doing what they need to do to keep the immune strong against that sort of thing. He's got a pinguicula here, which is a reflection of the gallbladder and liver, how well they are processing fats and oils. Recall he likes his Subway sandwiches and pizza. Okay, so far there isn't any direct, big, heavy threat to the heart, but we don't want it to develop to that extent. So we can go to another one. And please, Professor André, just stop me anytime you want if you want to talk further about what's going on here.
Wants you to just
Okay, thank you.
You want to say something?
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Dr. Leonard. Just to say that things that we were saying before, maybe this guy make many questions like victim questions, like why that's happened with me, why with me, how I didn't see that before. This kind of that has no answer. There's
Right.
no answer that's going to make the guy happy. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're hitting right on it. You're hitting on it.
Is there any particular signs that you can somehow pinpoint as
Yes,
far as
yes. If you go to the last quadrant, I can show that.
Okay.
Left medial.
Okay, the arterial coronary. This one, yes, it's coming from a particular area, which is correlated with self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
Right. The line coming from the lower quadrant, it's going to spleen. This one, it's correlated with this area. It's correlated with victim behavior. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both together, and that's we do also in sclerology, in psychoenergetic sclerology, we get together the information. So one plus the other, we have this kind of possibility, you know. So it's yes, perfect. Thank you, Nenita. So it's exactly give us the way, give us the GPS, yeah, to ask the ones, how it's for you to work with this kind of thing, or something's not right with you, are you, do you make many questions, and I really agree with the answers. How is that for you? You know, so this is particularly the situation that we have, which may shows how the ones are. Yeah. So
And
does it make sense with him, with this person?
yes,
Yeah.
to confirm what you're saying is whenever he comes over for a visit or even just talking on the phone, he would compare himself with the other people. So how come I have all these things happening with me and having all these symptoms?
Yeah.
I barely have a good lifestyle, a good
Diet.
diet,
So,
and yet I have all this. And then um,
and why do I have this problem?
it's almost
Yeah.
like hypochondria.
Almost like it.
Yeah. Why I'm not cured yet? Yeah. Why I'm not cured yet? I'm doing all that you asked. I'm doing everything correct. I'm doing
Yes.
exercise. I eat good food, but you didn't change your feelings yet. You didn't change your thoughts yet.
But there it is, right there. And I don't even want to tell you how many times I talked with him about that.
Uh huh.
I'm going to read you the last paragraph that I wrote that I was holding
And
back on.
okay,
Uh,
just to finish this little part, brother.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
This line, which comes from arterial coronary, goes to arterial heart and goes up to cerebellum, get together with cerebellum, right? Those, yeah, that one, that's coming from the, oh wait, please, which is coming from the upper quadrant, right? Yes, that one, cerebellum, midbrain, and going down. Yeah, it's making all together. Then we can see that this same kind of behavior of him can be correlated also with social life, right? What he may compare himself very often with other people, with many different subjects. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, he's always doing that. Here is the last paragraph I'll read to you.
Okay.
Although,
Go on,
although
Dr.
was
Leonard.
not,
Thank you.
did you want to say something else?
No, that's fine. Perfect. Thank you. Go on.
Although this was not medically diagnosed, we feel that he has what has been variously called hypochondriasis, illness, anxiety disorder, and the one that I like best, health anxiety. Okay, HA. This usually develops during adulthood, and this is coming from the literature, the information about it. Symptoms include a long-term and intense fear of having a serious condition develop and worry that minor symptoms indicate something serious. A person may frequently visit and switch doctors. I don't even want to tell you how many doctors this guy has gone to. Okay, it's considered treatable by a medical professional. Okay, it's chronic and it can last for years or it can be lifelong. Okay, it is said to require a medical diagnosis. But again, he hasn't had that yet. Lab tests or imaging are not required for this diagnosis. So it's more psychological. Okay, counseling and medications may help, and that's what the official. If you look up those disease names, hypochondriasis, illness anxiety disorder, or health anxiety, this is what you're going to read. Okay, so many times I talk with him. I said, Alan, this is, you know the expression, this is all in your head. Well, literally, this is what is happening. You're
Yes.
imagining these diseases, you're seeing these little symptoms here and there, and you're projecting it into a major disease that you're going to suffer and die from.
Yeah.
So you got to see this process. You got to see this in yourself.
Can I say something?
Please, please.
It's probably not easy to convince this guy to change, and probably
Right.
you've been saying that to him for a long time and
Yes.
repeating many times, and always when he talk with you is the same speech, yeah. And I tell you why it seems like that. The kind of line that we are seeing, right? That's why I make these correlations before. It is from his basic personality. It is inherent, right? It's from himself, his nature, personality. He aims like that. It's not about what happened during his life. Things that happened during his life just increase his ideas. He came already with this vulnerability of feelings.
Tendencies, yes.
Tendencies, exactly. The tendency to think like that without any situation. Then, whatever happened in his life is just like the physical body. We have tendencies. Then we have a not good nutrition. We have not good habits and whatever. Then we get sick. Our physical body, our gross body gets sick. So our mind, it's like that as well. So we came with basic personality characteristics, right? And so he came with these things, with this normal way to perceive his life. Then things happened on his life, right? And then increased a lot. How we see that? The kind of line that we are saying, right? That one to that dot to arterial heart that goes, yes, exactly that one. As well, the other one on the next, the etheric and pituitary, yeah, it's a prime line. It was a prime way that became a prime B, and it's coming from the inner sclera.
What did we call that, Nenita, the book that we wrote?
Upper.
It's
coming from down the sclera, practically the sclera, yeah? Not from episclera, not from, so it's coming from the real sclera, right? Which show us our nature of personality, okay? So that's why it's too difficult to change his way to think. It's long work. It's a hard work. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Go on.
Yeah, you stop me anytime. This is an image. We labeled it this way because of the upper Q book that we wrote that divides the brain areas from in terms of thought, thinking, mental processes, and etheric feeling processes. It's just divided right down the middle, and so that's what this diagramming is for, to show that kind of a connection. We also diagrammed it. We added some diagrams that show connections between the pituitary and the parathyroids, which you'll see. Right, you see that. So this is the feeling, more etheric emotional area of the brain, and then the other is the thinking, mental, abstract processes, which Professor André described so well. Okay, and how that affects his behavior. So we could just go on, Nenita, and go on to the next one. And then see this, the L6 view. This is the L6 view, the research angle view, so that you could see clearly the connection between the pituitary and the parathyroids. It's just very, very clear. So, and also the pituitary and the thyroid, which is Nenita's highlighting right now. See, that's pituitary to the thyroid. So you can see there's interference. There's a problem that is developing between, or even we should say between, in this case, these important endocrine organs. So that needs to stop. That needs to change.
We'll see if
if it goes down further,
no, if the right eye
has the same thing.
has the same. Yep, it's right here.
Is it or not? I don't know. You'd have to go to the
It's
next.
right here. See? It's
very,
faded.
very, very vague. I think that's more potential than it is real.
Yeah.
But certainly on the other side, on the left side, it shows that connection. Sometimes it's only on one side, and sometimes it's both. So then it's going to take a little longer to get the thing solved. So this is the right upper quadrant, and so you can see the pituitary is involved here too, and the vital force is involved right here. See. So it is, Nenita was right. There is a pituitary to thyroid, a parathyroid connection. Okay. So, and that's, again, that has to be worked on. That needs to be considered.
So it's both upper quadrant is showing the same patterns and involving the same areas in terms of the physical and mental, emotional.
And that's why we labeled it this way, to show the two divisions of the thought and abstract area and the feeling area, but combined with the gross physical in terms of the specific organs that are involved in this process. So where did we leave off, Nenita? With the left, we didn't go to the left medial yet. We might need to. And Professor André, just stop us anytime you want to. We're going to go back to where we were. Did you do this one?
Yeah, okay.
I think you did.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, and then, this helps us to see, again, those connections between the pituitary and the e-thyroid, the emotional aspect, and also the parathyroids. You see a liver connection there that goes down as the lower. We'll take a look at that next. Okay. So you could go on, Nenita, whichever ones you want to.
Oh, can I say something?
Please do.
How does this guy answer or how does he lead with his issues, his projects, things that he have to do, responsibilities? Is it easy for him, or is everything hard, everything difficult?
Everything is difficult.
Everything is difficult.
Life for him is a difficult process.
Yes, life for him is something that he has to sweat a lot.
Yes, and
Even he doesn't sweat, but for him, he perceived that it's so hard to do everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And
if him lend him a copy of the book Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, and I gave him some books and videos for him to watch, so his mind will be more peace or calm, and yet
he just came back with the same thing every time. Sometimes he will leave, and he'll be in a much better mood when he leaves, because we'll just pump him up, and with good feelings. But then within a day or two, he's back down to worrying about everything, and sure that he's going to die of acromegalia and talu, which is whatever disease. So we definitely wanted to look at his respiratory. There's just so much more that we could show here. And remember, if you'll recall, that he smoked marijuana for a couple of years every single day.
yeah.
And while it's not going to hurt the body as much as cigarettes will, which he smoked just off and on, It will leave residuals, resins in the lungs, and they can build up and cause some real problems. So as you'll see, I mean, it didn't develop until much later, until the latest photos that we took, including these, but you can't see what's going on until you do some diagramming. I don't know if you might be able to see it there. No, it's not visible in that photo. That was from 2014. This is 2018. Okay. And I think the next photo, Nenita will show his, that one. That will show what has been developing. But I want to go back. Okay, you see the N1 NVA, the developing precancerous condition there in his lungs. And that is definitely an N1. It's just a small area, but we don't know what he's doing now. That's the whole problem. What is he? It's been a year since I've talked with him. If we go back to the right medial, there's something we skipped over. I wanted to show you something else that's going on there. Another sign that's a potential real problem. Okay, see, there's another NVA. It's bigger, more obvious, and again, this is 2015, but this was showing up in the 2014, not nearly as much in the earliest photos that we took. But this is from 2014. So you can see it pre-N1, but it's not nearly as developed as in 2018. Okay, but there's one other marker that I wanted you to see. We can see it from the research angle. Yeah, that one right there. We can actually, let's take a look at this, how this developed. You might even want to start here, Nenita. Okay, this is a 2014 photograph, and you can see the pre-N4 with the N4 configuration there, NVA. See, you got a series of straightish lines connected. See, that's the signature of the N4 bulwark marking that is a precancerous condition. Okay.
Could you enlarge it?
Say again?
Could you enlarge it?
Yeah, blow that up. Okay, now what we're seeing, you see, Nenita will trace the straightish lines. And you'll recall that most sclera lines are curved, and some of them are curlicue, and you can't see can you do there? Maybe that'll do it.
Right here.
Oh, I see what you're doing. And then go down here. Well, now it starts to curve, but outline the straight parts and see how they connect at the joints.
I can't see my mouse.
You can't see your mouse.
Okay.
That's where your lips are. Your mouth is where your lips are, Nenita. She's going to smack me for that one. And there. There you go. And this one down here. So you see how they're connecting, and they're joined at the joints. Okay. So that's the signature of the N4, the bulwark, so-called bulwark marking, that is an NVA, or neoplasm vulnerable area, that could easily develop into cancer. And where is this? It's in the spine. It's in the back, but I think this might been also
inherited. So his fear of having to wind up being like his parents who have ALS, which is a nerve disorder, and also Parkinson's, which is the Parkinson's is the
it's nerve
related nervous system. And so when we mentioned that to him, you have certain signs, but it doesn't necessarily need to be manifest. But if he continues to kind of like
be super concerned about it.
Super concerned, and also the fear. It's like fear can make his reality in a way.
Right. Look what fear is doing of COVID. People are just terrified of getting a disease that's going to kill them. And
so he may, if he doesn't change his thought pattern, he may very well develop disease.
Oh yeah.
That will come.
In other words, his thought, his emotion, negative reactive emotions, NREs, negative reactive emotions, can very well and very often do lead to major chronic diseases.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, let's go to the next one. I wanted to go through this. Did you want to say something about this, Professor?
Yes, please.
Go
Um,
ahead.
how does he leads with fear of life? I mean, we already know that everything hard, everything difficult for him. He perceived that everything is difficult, and also how is for him? I mean, does he have fear of everything around? I mean, he take care too much about things about himself.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And doesn't go.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's everything for him is as it's like he's a fear-based person.
Yes.
Whenever he would have, for example, certain symptoms that he feels, his first
Reaction?
reaction is to go to a medical doctors or go
Yes.
and
Yes. Yes.
to
Yes.
hospital or urgent care.
Yeah.
One time he called and he said that he may have contracted AIDS. And I said, okay, why? So he called me and he said something like because he feared that he met this woman and he had
Had sex with her?
sex with her without protection. And he's fearing that because of that, he kicking himself for not having a protection that he may have some kind of,
Developed AIDS? And...
Yeah.
yeah.
No, he's going to die. Yeah.
Okay. And
This is,
do you know any information about his parents? If does his parents like that as well, or
no,
no?
they didn't seem. We met both of his parents,
Yeah.
and they didn't seem like that.
Okay.
Uh, so I don't know. Did you have a different take on that, Nenita? You remember
But
that?
the
Yeah,
parents, but his
and the
parents has problem on the relationship, isn't it? They got
well, they got divorced.
they got
His
divorced.
parents got divorced early on, so his father remarried. His mom, I don't know if
He
he.
kept taking his mom over to visit his dad, and the new wife didn't like that at all.
No.
And so this was very disturbing to him.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
he didn't get
So
along
he
as
probably
well with
has
the new wife.
a
No.
strong
So,
situation, strong conflict with his dad.
mm, mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
yeah.
right.
Okay,
And
which
even though
is
he loved his dad, he loved both of his parents.
yes, but he has conflict with the situation.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
like he doesn't understand why. That's the point, and that's can be
Mm-hmm.
one of the reason of the whole behavior of him as a victim. Okay,
Oh,
so that's one of the point that can be one of the key to help him to change his mind, change his way to perceive the life. He has
mm,
to forgive his parents,
mm,
forgive his dad, and not feel himself as a victim.
mm,
The relationship of them that wasn't uh, um, didn't went well. You know?
mm-hmm,
That's one of the possibility
mm-hmm,
to help him to start to change the way to think, right? Forgive
mm-hmm,
his parents and show him that he is not a victim on this situation.
mm,
That was better for him because separated, I mean divorced, probably they went well on the relationship as two woman being.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sorry if I'm
Right.
going too far, but
No, no, this is good. This is really good. It's interesting to me too that his medical people, all they were interested in treating his symptoms and giving him drugs. And no one ever recommended that he go to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor of some kind.
yeah, yeah,
And, which, if of course, if his medical people knew psychoenergetic sclerology or eyology, they'd be able to get, right to the root of the problem right away. Because although there, obviously there's some physical things going on in his body, What is the aspect of the mental emotional aspect? How is that contributing? And it's contributing in a major way.
So, Professor Andre, with regards to, for example, what we're seeing right now with regards to the lines in the sclera,
Yeah.
uh, in the area of the map that you develop, what can you correlate these areas where you see the biggest congestion line?
Yes. So we can see here on this line that comes from right kidney, right, goes to pancreas, and goes to and yes, yeah, and make the connection. Not really making, but it's going to the same area. Yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh. So we have first thing, this line on right kidney show us the correlation with the difficult of him to forgive, something that we have to investigate, but we have the case already, yeah. So we know that probably we can go through the situation of his parents, right? Which I am correlating with the other lines from the last quadrant that we saw, and which actually shows that there are something with the difficult to forgive, and and associate with his victim behavior, yeah? Pattern of victim, and which it is,
You mean
which
you
is
mean the line, the victim behavior is the combination of lines from the lower to the spleen and arterial
yes,
heart.
yes,
Material,
yes,
material.
and which is influencing the pancreas line that we are seeing,
Yeah.
right? So low back, prostrate, it's showing us that his energy, his masculine energy, is that English masculine?
That's right.
Yeah.
Is because in Portuguese, his masculine energy it's going down, and why it's going down? Because he feels like he were abandoned, right?
Mm.
So he's a son who become abandoned when he
Banded,
Abandonment.
right. Remember, he had two, I didn't mention it, he had two relationships with women, mate type relationships, and they left him. And one of them, a third one, found out that she was playing around with another man, and it really hurt him. So it was like a challenge to his manhood and weakened that in that area.
he's probably feeling that his masculine energy are compromise
Compromised.
compromise, yeah,
Hmm.
in English. It's being questioned, yeah,
Challenge.
Challenged or
yeah,
Challenge
comprometido,
or
né? Tá sendo
question.
comprometida, tá sendo testada.
Yeah, it's being tested, being questioned.
questioned.
Yes, his masculine energy, right? So
Hmm.
he's feeling that he's being pushing up to show that no, I'm a man, you know, I can do not only to be a man, to be masculine, but I have to do that. I have to be able to do this, and that makes him correlating with relationship, couple relationship. That's hard for. It's hard to have a relationship, right? To sustain relation, because his masculine energy it's being tested, yeah. He is questioning. He's questioning his masculine energy. What I'm trying to say is that he's making himself pushing up, right, on these things. He's asking himself, I am not good enough, right? I'm not a man good enough, right?
As a
That
man.
makes he have a not he's not very so socialize with women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that
Yeah.
goes to pancreas energy, right? And which
Mm-hmm.
make stronger his feeling as a victim. Okay, and
Okay.
so that's the lines correlating with low back, prostate, and kidney. And once the kidney is correlated, this line on the kidney, it's correlated with the other on the prostate, because it's showing that he doesn't, he has the difficult to forgive. He needs to
Forgive.
forgive his
Oh.
parents, beginning with his dad, then his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could easily imagine that because they, in some sense, of course, when they die, they abandoned him. But even when they broke up, when they
Yeah.
divorced,
Yeah.
he was what, like
There's something that we
18?
didn't talk since the first, since the our first live. It is the how we've been talking about quality of feelings and emotionals and in these aspects about correlating with lines and areas, but we didn't talk until now about the intensity of energy that he's spending
Mm,
on the time when the pictures are done, right? So
mm-hmm.
here we can see that he does spending energy. It's not a lot. It's not a lot at this moment when these pictures were done, but it's a long time. He's been feeding this energy, this feeling, this emotion for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's on the low back prostrate. It's younger. I can say that. It's newer. It's
Right.
newer,
New.
right?
It's
Right.
It's
more
newer.
recent, more recent.
Thank
Yeah.
you. More recent, yes. Um, he's been pulling my ear that I need to improve my English. Thank you. Yeah. So it's more recent, and so that's coming after these lines on kidney. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
As on the physiology, Dr. Leonard, you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes.
May came after as the kidney line of it's a prime it's a prime line, isn't it? Yeah, it's a
This is
prime
a
B.
primary line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
kidney is definitely a primary line.
yeah. So the other one comes later, comes after the
Oh,
kidney,
yeah.
right? So it's already a symptom, even in emotion. I'm a symptom of emotion, the difficult to forgive the situation of his parents, which increase his feelings of victim, and why with
Mm-hmm.
everything never goes right on his life, and he doesn't understand why with me, but the
Mm-hmm.
maybe the key of all that it's forgive his parents.
That
Yeah.
sounds right. That really sounds right. So I just sent yesterday an email to him, inviting him to just give me a call, let me know how things are, because I've been thinking about him a lot lately anyway, to see what's going on with him. Even though he lives 2 hours away, way up in Los Angeles area, even north of Los Angeles, he has driven down here several times over those years.
Uh-huh.
And so he can do it again, but it's up to him. You can, the old expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And, this includes all of us. People give us good advice, but it's up to us to take it or not. No praise, no blame. No
Yeah,
praise, no.
just to finish this quadrant, just to complete on the
Mm-hmm.
second and ascending column on the left,
Mm-hmm.
we can think how does he leads with control to get control of the things. Does maybe he feels that he needs to get control of everything in his life, and he feels that he doesn't have any control.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good point. Really good point. Because he has tried so many things, and it's almost as though he feels like his body is out of his control. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wants other people to tell him this is what's going on. and he expects people to tell him, "Oh no, you're headed for a major disaster, and that's the way it is." It's almost as though he's waiting for that information. It's
Yes,
amazing.
yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Go on.
No, that's it. I just wanted to make that comment.
Just to say we are completing 59 minutes.
Well, would anyone like to ask a question about any of this?
There are already two questions which head back to the area of the pituitary and the feelings and so on, if you could address those.
Okay.
Is it possible? Okay, where do you?
Did you cut us off?
Okay, do you have materials are available for presenting?
Oh yeah. Am I
Okay,
on?
how would you do?
Yes,
How
you are
would
on.
pituitary feeling sinus work emotionally with words and? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's. Let me put it back. Let
Okay.
me.
Okay, materials. I could just mention while Nenita's doing this, materials are going to be available. Professor Andre's map is going to be made available. It's being translated now into
Yeah.
English. So he will let you know when that map is available.
So
Yeah,
okay.
I'm working on that translation. As soon as possible, I'll tell.
Okay. So someone had a question about the pituitary to thyroid and parathyroid.
Yeah. So let me ask the. Can somebody, because we cannot see the question
Celso,
you.
would you please read the questions? Is it possible for you on the chat?
We can't. We don't have it up here.
What would you do for his pituitary feelings and sinus? Work emotionally with words?
You certainly can do that. Of course, there are a number of things that you can do with the pituitary to strengthen the pituitary, but the one thing that I always recommend for the endocrine system in general, it just works for every single endocrine organ. It's something that I do every day. Every day, I maybe miss one day out of the month, and that is before dinner. I always go in and do a 15-minute, it only takes 15 minutes, a little yoga. And you know, we can send you that free. Yoga exercise is 20 postures or asanas, and it just helps the entire endocrine system.
And then also, what we personally I mentioned to him is to have a meditation routine to calm his mind.
Thank you. Oh, that's so good.
Because of his mind's always being active and having anxiety disposition, as we saw in the iris, meditation and also visualization, positive visualization would help him.
Definitely.
Having yoga routine is also
It's very
not just help the
physical,
endocrine system,
right.
the physical, but it's also help with your etheric energy.
Very good call, Anita. Very good. So that's just one. I mean, there may be some herbs that are really useful. It depends on symptoms and signs with regard to the pituitary, the parathyroids and thyroid. Always, you know, if you can get medical tests like blood tests, but his blood tests almost always showed fine.
Yeah,
Very
and
little
if
ever
you
wrong with them.
and also I actually also gave him during the last time that he was here is okay, have a diffuser at home with regards to the essential oils.
oils.
There's a lot of essential oils that will calm his nerve, so to speak. One of them that I gave him was lavender oil because that will help with
Yes.
relaxation.
Some of you are really good at the essential oils. They can be very useful.
Yeah.
Can I say 2 words?
No, you've already said enough. I'm sorry. Your quota is used up. No, go ahead, Professor.
Thank you. Something that's good, of course, always emotional therapy of anyway. At least have someone that you trust, that you can open your heart and have a real conversation, yeah, about your problems, whatever. But about the pituitary in particular, it is nice to talk with them, with this person, with subjects correlated about honor, right? So we've been talking before that we saw lines showing self-esteem aspects, right? And now with this line on this area, particularly on the pituitary, we can address the conversation about things that touch this guy with honor things, right? So honor and love uh, uh, um, and even forgot the names right now. Celso, please. Raiva, and what else?
Anger,
Anger, yeah, ódio,
hatred.
yes. So yeah, it does work. If someone ask if hypnotherapy it works, yeah, it does as well. Okay, so it's if you see all these kind of feelings has its origin on em aspectos não palpáveis, Celso. São
In abstract
Yes.
abstract
Yeah,
aspects.
they are abstract aspects. The origin of these feelings are abstract. Love, hate, these things, and on. Okay, and on this area, this kind of line, we can address the conversation about these things. Okay, thank you. It was
Good. Okay, was there one more question that we needed
any
to
more
address?
questions? Celso, please help us with the.
Yeah, hypnotherapy, yeah, works wonder.
Yeah, if you have a good practitioner, yes, indeed.
The yoga routine exercise program.
What about it? If they want it?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll just
We'll send you a
we'll
link.
send you a link so you can see your favorite used car salesman, Dr. Leonard, doing his yoga. We'll send you the link. We'll send it to everybody. Okay, everybody on
And
this
also
list.
the upper Q. We have an electronic downloads for the upper Q. We talks about the mental emotional aspect of the lines that we see in the upper quadrant. So
That costs a whopping $2, I believe, Nenita.
I can't remember.
Forgot.
Yeah.
So
So
if you want to get the upper Q, which is, I think, a very important book, it deals with the mental and emotional aspects and the brain and how to see these things. So just ask us about the upper Q. Maybe we can send you a link to that, or
Yeah.
we'll send you a link to it. Okay, so yeah, you can get the upper Q book.
Sure. Okay.
All right, are we good then?
Just send us
Yes.
an email.
Okay, I think we're good.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to do this one more time. One more time. We're going to victimize you on next Thursday
Oh yeah.
at
I
noon.
didn't know about this
Is that
one.
right? This was the last one? Is that you said the
Yeah.
last one? Oh, I'm in trouble now.
But
So-
I'm alright. We can plan about that. We can see if
I thought we're gonna have a 4 session.
Yeah, that was my impression. But hey, it's okay with me. I have all my research work and a ton of work to do. So
let's talk about it, and then we announce for the
we'll just announce it. If we can do it, we'll
we
announce
plan
it.
it 3.
Done 3. 3's enough, right? No, we'll.
but we can think about 4. We still
Okay.
fun, so.
But 4 would be better.
What? 4 would be better? Okay.
Yeah. How about we present the upper Q?
Oh,
Yeah, we could do some work with the upper Q.
Yeah.
That
Alright.
can be wonderful. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
And also, if we have some time left on this 4th one, I can show the correlation of different lays of the sclera. Yeah, correlate with personality, with emotions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then.
Okay.
Thank you for attending, and
Thank
we
you.
will hopefully see you next time. All right.
Thank you very much again, once again. So let's plan the fourth one. Shall we leave it already confirmed, or we send them a confirmation?
We'll just,
Yeah.
I think we should send confirmation.
We send a
Okay.
confirmation. Okay?
Mhm.
All right then.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Leonard. Thank you,
Thank
Nenita.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.